And we're back to the communications and branding. So while the guys have been busy looking at the financials of the business and the strategies and the technologies that we're going to employ to help this business out, wrong way, we're going to look at the campaign. So some more pretty pictures to look at, which is exciting. Hey, yeah, I know, that is deliberate, that formatting, folks. There are no accidents in that. It's lovely, isn't it? So the campaign is about bringing the strategy to life. So the strategy is great, but it's all a lot of words on pages, and where clients really get excited was where they see how we take that strategy and turn it into a visual campaign that presents their business to the masses. So the strategy leads to the positioning, leads to the logo, leads to the brand identity, and then the campaign is the final stage. So it brings everything together in the campaign, the strategy, what the brand looks like, and those key messages that we identified. And also the language around this, like who are we talking to, how is it going to be relevant to our market. We want them to understand it, we want it to speak to them directly. So it has to be right for each target market, whatever that target market is, where it's young, fun hipsters or very straight-laced conservative professionals. It needs to be right for the people you're trying to reach with your businesses, and that Hippie are trying to reach with their business expansion. So I'm going to touch on a couple of case studies again before we get back to Hippie. So who can remember what the positioning line or slogan statement was for Turf Care WA? Anyone? If we had door prizes, you three gentlemen there would be enjoying copious amounts of red wine and champagne right now. Unfortunately, we don't have those things, but well done and thank you. Foundations of performance. So there's our campaign. So this is the hero campaign for Turf Care WA. So it visually says that while they put in the hard work at the ground level, at the turf level, because they work on the turf and the playing surfaces, which leads directly into the playing experiences for the sports people. So you can see how that foundations of performance positioning. Obviously these guys also want to show beautiful turf and beautiful premium playing surfaces in their advertising and key visuals, and so we're able to do that with these. And it has a little bit of fun, a little bit of a smile, a little bit of a double take where you look at it and go, hang on, what's going on here? Why is this working? So you're giving the people something to chew over, something to think on. It looks unusual. Why does it look unusual? Oh yeah, I get it now. So you can see what we've done with those guys with that. And this new branding and campaign launched just a few months ago, and the client's very, very excited about it. It really sets them apart. So can anyone remember what the abode positioning light statement was? Good to hear from this side of the room. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So very aspirational, Western suburbs real estate, buying homes in Perth's most beautiful suburbs. So we really wanted to bring that aspirational idea to life. Obviously, being real estate agents, they'd like to have some beautiful homes in their campaign. So this is a really good example of how a brand or a logo or the brand ID informs the way we present the campaign on a larger level. So you can see that we've used those square brackets that contain their logo to create this empty space. And we feel like, and the client can certainly see, it kind of invites you to put yourself into that picture, which is awesome for what these guys are doing. So there's a whole bunch of different headlines: dreams, beautiful lives here, happy lives here, family lives here, etc, etc. So it's saying to people that abode are controlling or owning this space in terms of, we've got beautiful homes, picture yourself in them, come to speak to us about them. So let's go back to Hippie Bikes. So as I've said, the hero campaign is based on the strategy, and the key points of those strategy are, these are hipster cruiser cycles. They have more power, so they've got some new technology in there. They're definitely young and cool, and they're about having fun days on cool bikes. So you heard Evan and Alex talking about niching and identifying a niche. Obviously, you know, big players in the market who have their own niche like RAC, if you want to differentiate yourself from them and disrupt the market a little bit, you've got to have a niche and a position. And these guys have those things. So what does this all look like? So this is what their campaign looks like. So you can see that their bikes are really pretty different. They're super hipster bikes. They're there for weekend cruising. They're not your commuter bikes. This is how we roll: Hippie Bikes, high-powered hipster. So you can see the language we're giving there is strong and confident and pretty young. It's talking about the extra power in the bikes. So these sorts of images would start to drive the look and feel of the website homepage, definitely the social media messaging. If they're doing corporate brochures, you would start to see these ideas executed with this sort of irreverent type of language. So their niche is very, very obvious. Now that's not to say a progressive granddad can't hire a hippie bike. Of course he can, and probably some of them will, but it's about knowing where your core market is, who are the most likely people, where are most of your market sitting, and pitching all of your comms towards those people. Because if you do that, not only will you own a niche, but you'll get more engagement because you know you've designed your comms to hit those people front and centre. And there's the last one, high rolling. So some takeaways around the campaign. Use the strategy to guide all of your advertising. So that's really, really important. We don't do the strategy, the communication strategy for good fun. It's actually probably one of the hardest working and challenging stages for us and the clients, because you've really got to push them to find their niche. People tend to want to say, we're WA's leading and we've got free parking and professional service. No. Let's find the real stories in your brand and your business. And really, we often have to push them and dig pretty deep. And then we have to pull those things out and show them back to the client where they go, oh, right, yeah, that is stronger. Speak to your core markets. I've just touched on that. Be very consistent. So with the messages, you should have 2 or 3 key messages that you're pushing all the time in slightly variant ways, and be very, very consistent visually so that you build up that idea of recognition. They come to your homepage, it looks and feels the same way as your homepage, as your inner pages, as your printed brochure, as your banners, whatever. Stand out, disrupt, and be different. And the other thing is you should return to your strategy to benchmark all of your comms. So the strategy is there again to sort of test, is that piece of communication that we've just developed, is that still on strategy? Is it still aligning with our key messages and purpose? If it is, tick. If it's not, cross and maybe go back to the drawing board with your supplier or your internal team who's developing those sorts of things.